What's up everybody, Brian here from BJ's Garage 570, and today we're going to be doing a Wickerbill install on a 2015 Dodge Challenger SRT 392. This morning we just installed the diffuser. That took about half hour, 45 minutes, but we're going to get going on masking the rear end of this spoiler off, removing the factory SRT emblem, and we're also going to go over the parts list, the stuff that's actually going to be coming with the box when it arrives at your door. Also, most importantly, let's figure out our tools, the tools that we're going to need, and I'm going to go through how a rivnut works. Some of you may or may not be familiar with it, but first let's go over what you need to do the install. First of all, we're going to use a drill. Make sure it's fully charged before you start this. A 15-30 seconds drill bit, something to drill a pilot hole with, masking tape so the drill bit doesn't walk on you, your wife's favorite hair dryer. Also, there's two separate types of rivnut tools here. This one here, this is your typical one that you could get at Harbor Freight or McMaster Car. They run anywhere between $5 to $25. This is usually used for smaller rivnuts, not really 3/8/16. So if you do get a hand one like this, make sure you buy the 3/8/16 mandrel. The one that we're going to use, only because we do a lot of these installs, is this type here. Now on this type, it does have your settings here where this is supposed to be, so you don't overstroke and crush this too far and pull it through the back of the spoiler. This also has a 3/8/16 mandrel. I'll show you what that looks like real quick. So this kind of threads in almost like a screw, and we're going to show you how to use this tool. Now for something like this, if you're only going to do one or two, definitely get this tool. You know, you don't want to spend too much on it. But if you plan on doing, if you're an installation shop such as ModFX or one of our other authorized installers, you should use something like this. These are usually only good for a couple of uses. And most importantly, a 5.5 Allen key. We're going to use this. Real quick, I'm going to show you how these rivnuts work. So this is what they are, and basically when you crush it using the tool, it'll mushroom on the inside of the spoiler and the screw will thread right in. So I'm going to do a demonstration real quick on how this would look like on the inside. So if you were to thread this on, see it's out all the way at the end here. So right before you stroke the mandrel there, so if it's already inside the hole, this is what's going to happen to it. See how it starts to mushroom like that? Basically it provides a seal and will prevent it from pulling out from the back of the spoiler. So the spoiler material is actually going to be inside here. And when you pull your tool out, this still is going to be remaining inside, but it's going to be very flush, and we're going to get to that in a minute. And you should be able to thread your screw right in. Now it's very important when you're crushing these rivnuts to make sure that you are straight on and you clamp straight on. You don't want to crook it or anything like that, because it's going to give you a hard time when you want to actually, bolt the item up. So for the parts list, you're going to get a baggie similar like this. You can have all your washers, all your 3/8/16 stainless screws, and all your aluminum mandrels. So first we're going to start with taking out the SRT emblem. Our customer has a replacement, but I'm going to give him. I'm going to let him install it. This is the Wickerbill, and we'll get to it in a moment here on on how these actually reach the end of the spoiler versus any of the other ones currently on the market. These are slotted, so you have a little bit of adjustability on where what height setting you want. And this is powder coat aluminum, so it has a very nice semi-gloss finish where it's going to match kind of like the rear end of your car here where this black is. So it's kind of like this texture. And when it's all assembled and we take our final shots, you'll see the overlap and how it matches. So if you want to go over here, Chris, real quick, I'll show them. This is one of the prototypes. This was not the final one, but this actually brings it just about to the edge, and it actually fits the entire contour on the bottom end of the trunk lid back to the corner. And if you see on the back end of this, it does give it about 1.25 inch lip, and this fits the contour right here. So this little notch right here will fit the contour of the back of the scat pack lip. The SRT 392 spoiler, as you can see, they're very similar, if not the same, as the scat pack. These will also work for Hellcat, I believe. I'm waiting on one guy to come back. This is going to just basically continue over here. So if you're still interested in the one that has the notch in it, you would order the SRT 392 or the scat pack one, and it'll still work for your Hellcat. But I'm just going to go through, talk to the customer, make sure everything worked out as planned with them, because he really liked the one with the notch in it. So as you can see here also, there is a camera hole, so when you're actually putting it in reverse, you're not going to have any obstruction in view. Now again, this is the prototype, so it wasn't exactly on center here, but we worked all the bugs out, and the final product, everything is on center. But for the most part, it came out really nice, and you'll see the final result once we get it mounted up in a couple of minutes here. Air dryer, the one that you're not supposed to use. And what you want to do is kind of like heat up the adhesive behind the emblem here, and it'll start becoming loose. Once it starts getting loose, you take the fishing line, which I forgot to tell you, you'll need fishing line if you have an emblem already on the back of your car. Fishing line or dental floss will work also. We're going to just finish heating this S up here. You can already see it starting to come loose in the corner. Alright. Get the dental, go to the fishing line. Okay. Again, be careful doing this. You don't want to scratch the paint if, even though the Wickerbill is going to be behind here, you don't want to do any damage to the body. So just take your time. And there's the S. And to get this off, you can pick up glue gun at a hardware store or Advance Auto. So the R is almost off here. Okay. Get a little bit more heat. There you have it. That's basically how you pull the emblems off. And like I said, you can use glue gun, and this will take off the remainder of the adhesive. Or what you could do is just keep heating it up, and it'll actually start peeling off in larger chunks. So after I get the rest of this adhesive on, we're going to get to putting masking tape up on here so the drill bit won't walk, and we'll get to drilling. Alright, so basically Chris is holding it in position here. It's very important, like I said, to make sure that this is on center. This is going to be the center of the Wickerbill, the center of the trunk lid. So you don't want this radius here too low, or else it's going to interfere with your camera shot when you put in your reverse camera. So Chris, you gotta walk right there.
Right there?
Yep. So for spacing purposes, here at the corner especially, basically like a fingertip, right at the corner here, only so when you close the trunk lid, it doesn't rattle off the body. So you can see you have the masking tape behind here, and Chris pretty much has it flush there. So what I'm gonna do is just start drilling some pilot holes. Remember, take your time. Is that on something, Chris?
Yep, it's looking good.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so that gives us the holes to drill the bigger ones, the scary ones. So we're gonna put this down here. We're gonna get the bigger drill bit. Now, as I quoted before, you're gonna need 15-30 seconds, and this is a little smaller than what they actually require for these riv nuts. But the reason for it is that you don't want the hole too big, otherwise it's not gonna see correctly. So what we're gonna do is get down and dirty with scary work. Find the center. Okay. Oh, that tape is pulling. It's good just for the pilot hole. Remember, keep straight. Don't force it. Okay, we're going to peel the tape off, whatever's remaining of it. For some reason this masking tape wasn't sticking, I think because there was so much wax on the car. So make sure you maybe rub the rear end down with rubbing alcohol so the tape can stick properly. Okay. What's up, buddy? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start placing this first riv nut, and as you can see, this is not gonna just simply just go in. So we gotta open up that hole just a little bit. You're gonna have to test it a few times because these are, you gotta make sure that it's tight. We're almost there. Again, you know, you don't want to rush doing this. All right, so it's just about there. Let me see if I can press it. we're gonna open up just a little bit more. All right, see that? Okay. So that's how it should seat, right there. Make sure it's nice and flush. And basically repeat for all 6, or if you have the charger, repeat for all 10. Alright, so we got the riv nut in. Now it's not clamped yet, I'll show you how to do that, but basically once you drill that hole and you press it in, what you're going to want to do is you take your tool here, thread it in. Now don't force it, because you want it straight and you want the threads to still be intact. So now you have it straight on. You're gonna see here around this area, if you're gonna clamping too much, it's gonna start kind of like bowing. You'll see in a minute. Not that I'm gonna over clamp it, but you're gonna start seeing it. See how it starts pulling the fiberglass? All right, now that's all it takes. So it actually clamped this much, about a 1/4 inch. So now that one is secure on the inside. Now take it easy, taking out the mandrel, and you can see in there, the threads are still there, and it's already mushroomed, and then it's not coming out now. So basically you repeat this same step for all 6. Alright, so we got all the riv nuts in, and again, when you're doing this, you kind of have to play it by feel with that tool. So it's going to just bring in the fiberglass just a little bit. That's how you know it's being crimped on the inside. So what we're going to get doing now is actually mounting the Wickerbill to the riv nuts. So what you want to do is start at the 2 corners with the hardware. Remember, always use a washer. So we got the supplied 3/8/16 screws and the washer. Never tighten anything down until all the bolts are actually in. I kind of found that out the hard way a little bit on mine, and you kind of have to just keep backing them out, and you don't want to ruin the threads in these. So definitely just kind of like bring it in about 3-4 threads on all of them, and then you could go around tightening them. You got that screw there, Chris. Hard time there. So as you can see, we got the Wickerbill actually mounted up. So at the last scene that you saw, that we had the riv nuts in place. Now to actually get it on is pretty simple. All you have to do is, again, 2 people to do this job. One guy line up on the other side, make sure that there's like a finger gap on each side, and just thread in the bolts. And remember, don't crank them all down as soon as you put them in. You have to make sure that they're just enough in there just so you can maneuver the bolts if you need to, and maneuver the spoiler. So that pretty much wraps up everything with the Wickerbill install. If you have any questions, shoot us an email at our sales line at sales.bjsgarage570 ashley.ashley@gmail.com. And you can see my Wickerbill over here, this one, got the diffusers on both. They look pretty nice. I hope our customer is happy with the outcome. We feel it looks pretty nice. And if you have any questions, anything, again, shoot us a line. That pretty much concludes today's installation.